Chinese dev exposed how modern audience creeps are trying to take over gaming.
So over on NeoGAF, there's been this crazy post talking about this situation from China, where a Chinese indie dev went over to Sweden for a game design master program, saying the guy took some pictures of lecture slides and shared it on social media. Let's take a look at some of these slides. We've got this one saying men with breasts. Is that Lara Croft?
What
the freak are they talking about?
Wait, what? What?
Next one, we've got Exhibit A saying Cloud Strife in Final Fantasy VII 1997, and then again in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Magnificent dress, I think it says. We can't see the full text. You can also see in the bottom line it says something something as queer. They then translated Swedish to Chinese, and someone translated Chinese back over to English using a image translation service, presumably on the internet. See that the slide had said something like, design a fighting game character that is neither male nor female. Think specifically about how they move through the world. How do they walk? How do they jump? How do they squat and get over obstacles? How do they...
Who put these people in charge to put these presentations together? Who is authorizing this shit? I need to know. Is it the WEF?
attack and what attacks do they use? How and what do they defend? What special moves might they have? Then it says in gender studies, something I can't read here. Radical feminism, queer theory, something else too small, Marxist feminism, and decolonial theory. The next slide says 2014 hashtag Gamergate. Research has changed since Gamergate. Hashtag Gamergate is a campaign organized by right-wing extremists.
Never gets old, does it?
4chan, 8chan, to massive harassment campaigns against women, racial and sexual minorities, and the abstract concept of progress. Gamergate reaches...
Again, according to who? Do you know how they say the history books are written by the victors? These people think they won, so they're already claiming victory and talking about what it used to be about. It's like, no. It's probably what sparked the rise of Gamergate 2 is this whole shit.
Mainstream attention.
And that's also why they're never going to win.
Gamergate sparked a debate about how women and marginalized people are treated in the gaming industry and discussion about survival in the game. This game design master program is like every cliche about some brain-rotted, politically obsessed weirdo combined. These people don't even seem to actually like video games. They're just using it to try and spread their weird rhetoric.
Yep.
The title of this thread, by the way, if you go to Sweden for Game Design Master Program, you'll likely be taught that Cloud Strife is a classic transgender character design. All because out of the entire game of Final Fantasy VII, there's like 5 minutes where Cloud wears a dress to infiltrate this club. Oh, hey, he's got to be trans.
I mean, talk about latching on to literally anything you can find in a game that is somewhat popular and has somewhat connections to what a trans person does. But it's like, bro, that has nothing to do with anything trans.
By the way, what a great way to reinforce gender stereotypes. And these people actually talk about making societal progress. But once again, all they really do is reinforce gender norms. And they never see this hypocrisy with their rhetoric because they're too blinded by their own fake moral superiority, acting like they're the most virtuous people out there. And of course, if you
well, they don't care about the repercussions of what they do. So that's why they don't reflect.
Disagree with their lame, insane rhetoric, you're just a far-right extremist. On that note about Cloud Strife, you also might find this pretty dang amusing. So there was a Substack article posted on February 1st, 2024 titled, Prove to Me You're the Man, an analysis of gender and sexuality in Final Fantasy VII. Also known as my long-winded excuse for saying why Cloud Strife is trans. With the upcoming release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, my
name is Anissa, or Annie Robinson. I've been a lover of literature for as long as I can remember. In 7th grade, I got a purple spiral notebook and wrote my first full-length story from cover to cover. Did anyone read it? No.
For saying why Cloud Strife is trans. With the upcoming release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, my mind is filled with nostalgia for the original game, while I personally never played it. Yeah, so that's all that we need to read. Brain rot.
But that's I see why I use it now, because of the very end. While I personally never played it. And then saying that that is the type of person that uses it to push an agenda. Now I see why they use this. Okay, makes sense. I thought they were just pointing at the article to laugh at the article. I'm like, no. They're talking about this is the type of person. And they latch on to the ideology of it. And they don't even play the game.
For the original game. While I personally never played it. Yeah, so that's all that we need to read. As you can see, these sort of people that want to use games to facilitate their political brain rot are in reality just a bunch of posers. Of course, that doesn't mean that every gamer needs to play Final Fantasy VII. I'm specifically talking.
Yes, they do. Disagree. Every single person needs to play Final Fantasy VII.
About these sort of people within all of the context that we went over. Now returning to the Chinese dev who crashed the Sweden game design master program. Well, it seems like they found out that their panels were leaked and they're very upset that this stuff got released to the internet. The dev having...
Well, hold on. You said at least she was honest about it. She was honest about it because they don't understand how stupid it makes them look. Like that's why they were honest about it. If they actually realized how hypocritical and dumb that sounds to say, they'd be like, oh, I should probably not tell people I didn't play the game.
Provided more information over on a Chinese platform that reads, my post had a negative impact on the school's reputation, and many LGBT students were also psychologically harmed as well.
Oh no, not that. They had to deal with reality?
As teachers and classmates in the photos. I'm sorry, but I won't be making any more posts like this in the future. Just now, the director of the academy called me to the office and then directly projected the post I made in Bar B on the big screen, and then asked Kobe if it was me. After being told I would have a serious negative impact on the school, teachers, and LGBT classmates by posting such posts, I realized my mistake and promised not to post such things in the future.
That's totally not a cult. Don't worry, guys. Definitely not a cult. Nothing to worry about here. Totally fine. Nothing to see.
You're telling me that the school's claiming that this harmed them so much and psychologically harmed people when all this person really did was be like, yo, here's what they're teaching in this class. I think that alone speaks volumes about the sort of nonsense that's going on there. Ultimately, I just thought you guys would find this interesting for very obvious reasons. Let me know what you think about this stuff in the comments. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you enjoyed my coverage, please consider liking and or subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next one.
What I do worry about is there are a tremendous amount of those kind of classes and tutorials. I've attended probably, a handful of them, not too many. The last couple was when I worked at Qualcomm. Qualcomm actually has like a gaming division, and my my manager knew that I was like really into gaming, so she was like approving me to go to the presentations for their gaming division, which had very little to do with what my job was there. My job at Qualcomm was being a technical writer. So I would do all the documentation. I would do a lot of writing every day, which guess what I do now? I do a lot of writing. But I would go to those presentations, but it wouldn't be like that. It wouldn't be like woke shit. It would talk about like the game design, and it was really fascinating and cool stuff. And it was attended by probably like tens of people. There were probably like, I don't know, 35 to 40 people there, maybe max. Sometimes it'd be like 20 people in other ones. Sometimes even less, like small environments, intimate environments with people just hanging around, just listening to people talk about how they make the games. And I love that kind of shit. Even though I know I'm never going to make a game, nor do I really have a passion to make a game, I love to hear developers talk about how they make the games. I don't know why. It's just very, very interesting to me. But yeah, the reason why I bring that up is because there's so many of these courses and presentations and conferences, GDCs, and all these other massive things that go on. It's important to call out the shit when you see, I don't know, someone talking about a chick with boobs and then saying it's the male form and stuff like that. It's weird. It's really weird. And that it doesn't belong in gaming. And I say that as in they're allowed to make it, but it's not going to sell. I'm not trying to censor what is allowed to be made. I'm just saying when they start indoctrinating future developers, that's concerning because they're trying to stack the deck on the games that will be coming out, games that nobody wants to play, and ultimately will do in the entire game industry. It will collapse onto itself. because these people do not give a shit about the game industry or the games themselves. They care about pushing ideologies and propaganda. And I know it sounds ridiculous to say it out loud, if you're new to this world, but living in it, especially the past year and a half, 2 years, the way it's picked up the way it has, it's unfortunately all too often. But yeah, that's what I gotta say about that. Thank you for sharing that, Nev. Appreciate that video. That was interesting. That was really interesting.